Welcome to the journey of CyberLogic, a guide to Final Fantasy XI, Episode 14, Wings of the Goddess. Now in our last episode, we finished uncapping ourselves to level 75, and we started on the Treasures expansion. Today, we will be taking care of our sub-job as well as starting the Wings of the Goddess expansion. Now our sub-job of Warrior, we only bothered leveling to 30 in Quiffum in our previous episodes, but it's quickly become underleveled. The remedy to this is actually pretty easy when you have trust. My favorite place to go is Delkfut Tower. Start on floor 1 and kill every monster as you climb the tower. Getting to the top floor should take about 45 minutes, and by the time I got there, I had gone from level 30 all the way up to 43. Now be sure to use your 150% experience bonus rings when you do this, and in regards to a trust setup, you should be using Yoran Oran or Sylvie for your healing. You want to use Valnariel as your tank, as he will often have the highest DPS of the group due to his AoE weapon skills, and if used correctly, you can actually go from mob to mob, forcing him to continually activate this AoE weapon skill as you go along, making for quick kills. I also use either Tenzen or Semi the ranged trust to skill chain with Shantoto 2, who will also magic burst, usually twice per skill chain, for crazy amounts of damage. With this setup, you should be able to make quick work of the mobs as you climb the tower. Now when you get to Upper Delkfut Tower, you will have reached the end of your climb for your current level, so stay on that floor and continue to kill mobs until you finish capping your sub-job at level 49. Now in my example that you're seeing here, it took me roughly 1 hour and 15 minutes to climb the tower and farm that first upper floor to get my warrior from level 30 to 49, so it actually goes quite quickly. Many times during the year, there are also experience events running that would cut this time in half or more by boosting the amount of experience you receive per kill, so be sure to take advantage of those periods of time when they're around. Now after we finish leveling our sub-job, it's time to get back to our journey. We next will begin the Wings of the Goddess expansion. To do so, we need to go to the past by activating one of our cavernous maws surrounding Juno. The 3 locations you can find them are in Saruman Champagne at J10. Note, this is requiring you to pass through the Banishing Gate 3 in Garledge Citadel in order to get to. So this one is definitely the most challenging of the 3 to get to begin with. The second is in Rolandberry Fields at H6, and the third is at Batilla Downs at H5. You can see me activating the one in Bat Downs right here. Now once clicked on, a cutscene will trigger, and we have started the Wings of the Goddess expansion. Now once you've finished the cutscene, you will be in the past and ready to proceed on to the next mission. You will have been tasked with going to a nearby allied fortress. These include Garledge Citadel, Crawler's Nest, and the Eldamine Necropolis, all in the past. Each is aligned with a starting nation, so if you want to join Sandoria for instance, you want to head to Garledge Citadel. If you want to join Windurst, head to Crawler's Nest, and the Necropolis is where you want to go if you'd like to join Bastuk in the past. Now I'm going to ally myself with Sandoria, so I'm headed for the Citadel. Now to speed up future travel in these zones, you want to be sure to click on any survival guides or home points that you find along your way. Now once we finally arrived at Garledge Citadel, we need to head to I-6 on map 2 and speak with Radicue, who will give us a red recommendation letter and send us to Sandoria. Note that I recommend using the nearby zone of Saruman Champagne to click on the cavernous maw just outside the door while you're here to unlock that maw. Maws can only be used to get from the present to the past once you've already used them to get from the past to the present, so this is a good time to unlock this one since you're so close to it. Next, we need to run all the way back to Sandoria in the past, which will take some time as we have to do so on our mount. Now in past zones, we need to go from Saruman Champagne to Rolandberry Fields and then to Batilla Downs. We then have access to get into the zone of Junger Forest. Now Junger Forest is not as open as it is in present day, so we will then need to zone out into Vunkrel Inlet, where we'll use an alternative entrance to get back into Junger Forest, this time in the southern section of the forest, and that is what will allow us to get access to get into East Ronfaur and finally get to Sandoria after a very long journey. Now it's possible you may not have purchased yet the maps for these zones. You will find having them very helpful when getting through them, so I recommend spending the 30,000 gil for each of these 3 maps from the usual map vendor in present-day cities. I also recommend making sure to pick up the survival guide warps in Batilla Downs, Junger Forest, Vulcral Inlet, and East Ronflower as you're progressing through those zones, because you're going to need those survival guide warps to get back there quickly over our next few quests and missions. Now once finally reaching the capital, make sure to get the home point warp and survival guides there as well, and then head to Menchelit to begin the quest that is needed to be completed in order to progress further in our storyline. Now speaking with Menchelit, we'll turn in the red recommendation letter key item that we received earlier and send you on a quest into East Ronflower to click on 3 locations. You can see those locations you need to click on here on the map, indicated by the yellow squares. Now each location, once clicked on, will award you with a key item. Once all 3 items have been collected, head back to Sandoria and turn them in to Menchelit to complete this quest. Next, we need to speak with Luxard at G7 in Sandoria in the past for a cutscene and to start our next quest. Now once the CS is over, you will need to leave the zone and then come back and speak with Luxard again for the next cutscene. Next, go to Roland at E7, who will give you plumes of dior and ask you to distribute them to 7 NPCs around this zone. Now going from west to east, you want to deliver them to the following people. First, Machinage at C6, then Luxard at G7, then Eloise at H9, then Rongelouts and Distad at I9, then Sebilont at I11, then Elnod at K9, and the last one is Luloli at K9, and you'll find her on the upper level, so you'll actually have to go around and then climb the stairs to get to her location. Now once we have traded all the NPCs, head back to Roland to finish the quest. We now must wait until the game day ends and then speak with Roland again to start the next quest. So once it is a new game day, go ahead and speak with him to begin it. You now want to zone into Junger Forest from East Ronflower to trigger a cutscene. You can either run there from town or use the survival book warp in East Ron to be ported to the zone line to Junger. Next, you want to head to I6 inside of Junger Forest in the past and click on the tree stump with the question marks on it to trigger a cutscene. After that cutscene, summon your usual trust and then touch it again to spawn the Orc NM, Finger Filcher Drezad. Now as long as you're using trust, this really should be a fairly easy fight at this level. Now once he's dead, click on the stump again for a final cutscene and to finish the quest. Next, we need to head to one of the cavernous maws in the past. I chose to just go to Batilia Downs, using the survival book to save time. Now once you click on the maw, you will be treated to a cutscene that completes this mission. You now need to head back to South Sandoria in the past to complete another 2 quests before proceeding in the Wings of the Goddess storyline. Now once back in Sandoria, you want to go speak with Rustig first at I7 before heading to Roland again at E7 to continue the quest. Next, we need to head to Vulcral Inlet, and if you grabbed the survival book warp when we first ran through it, then it should be very easy to get back there. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a trek. Now once in this zone, you will want to head to H6 and touch the question marks just beyond the bridge. This will trigger a cutscene with Roland. Once finished, head a short distance away to F5 and click on the leafy patch. You will need to select the color that corresponds with the current time of day. Red is for between midnight and 8 a.m., blue if it's between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., and green between 4 p.m. and midnight. You will then be rewarded with a Vulcral Herb. Bring this back to those question marks at H6, and you will trigger the final cutscene and complete this quest. We now need to head back to Roland in South Sandoria to begin our next quest. Once we speak with him, he will send us to Junger Forest. Now I suggest using that survival book warp that we had previously gotten to quickly get back there. Once there, head for H10 and click on the question marks near the foot of the nearby platform to trigger a cutscene. Now once that cutscene is finished, make sure you summon your trust and then click on it once again to begin a fight against the Cobra Claw Butchovach. He will be similar in difficulty to the previous orc we fought, and he should pose little challenge if you're using the trust mentioned. Now once defeated, you will want to touch the question marks again for a final cutscene before returning to Roland in South Sandoria to finish the quest. Now it's important to note that the military script key item that you get here can be sold to Wyatt at L6 in South Sandy for 20,000 gil. Next, we need to zone into South Sandoria in the past from East Ronflower. This will trigger a cutscene, and we then need to head to the Lion Springs Tavern at K6, and click on the door for another cutscene. We now need to head back to present day and speak with Turlaw at G7 in Upper Juneau to receive a show ticket. When you take this ticket back to the past and click on the Lion Springs door once again, they will accept this ticket and it will trigger yet another cutscene. We can now proceed further into the Wings of the Goddess storyline. To do so, we first want to head to East Ronflower in the past to trigger the cutscene. Next, you will want to head to La Vule, known as Devoy, in the present day. Now, the fastest way to get there is to simply use the Survival Book Warp to Junger Forest, and then turn around and zone right into the map. Now, once inside of the map, I suggest you kill your way to the BCNM location for this mission. Now, in our journey of CyberLogic thus far, we haven't had to go out and farm experience at any time, as we've been using some occasional times to kill mobs on our way to our mission's target. This is again one of those times that I suggest you do so. I was level 68 when I entered this zone, and by killing mobs on the way to the BCNM, I ended up level 73, and it took me less than 30 minutes. I also was able to skill up quite a bit, as my skills have been lacking since we've been getting so much of our experience from quest and just playing the game. Now, the path you want to follow is shown here on this map. Once you get to the reinforced gateway at F9, you want to click on it once for a cutscene and then a second time to enter the fight. Once inside, summon your usual trust and begin the fight that should not be overly challenging at this level with proper trust, as you can see here. Let's go ahead and see how the rest of this BCNM run goes, and then we'll continue on with our Wings of the Goddess journey. Now, once this boss is defeated, you're going to once again be treated to another cutscene. Lastly, you'll want to head back out of South Sandoria and zone into East Ronflower for a final cutscene and to complete the starting of the Wings of the Goddess expansion and our prerequisites for Rhapsodies of Vana'diel. That's going to be it for this episode of the Journey of CyberLogic. In our next episode, we will focus on starting the Rise of the Zealard expansion as well as unlocking our level cap to 80. Now, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to click on the subscribe button under the video and the bell icon next to it to be notified when my future videos are released. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy out there.